You hear a clock ticking. You feel hollow and empty. You're looking down at the floor, just blankly staring. You're about to drift off into space again. You're about to doze off until you heard a slam on your desk. Don't doze off, you bastard! You have plenty of work to finish before you can return to your stupid dozing, William. It was said by your coworker. Oh, fine, I'll finish it. Just don't yell again. You got the attention of the secretary and the vice. Just try not to lose your temper. Again. You said, try not to be rude. Whatever you say, soft boy, said by your coworker. You ignored him and prepared yourself to work. Stretching and yawning, cracking your knuckles and stretching your fingers, and started to pick the paperwork up and heading to the main office to write and check the documents made by your coworkers. Look at this paperwork. It would take me half an hour to finish this if they keep sending me more while I'm working. It would take me 3 hours? This is a pain in the butt, you said, mumbling to yourself, as you remember something from the past. Why you came here, why you work here. Who am I to complain about? You said to yourself as you start to work, reading and writing the documents, checking every file to make sure not to miss a single documentary. As you finish, you look at the clock. It says 11:45 a.m. Looks like it's almost lunch. Well, I have to wait for another paperwork. I can't believe I work for this. Your vision goes white and goes to a flashback. Your memories were coming back as you doze off. Then suddenly, you're on your bed with your wife. It was raining, and your wife was still sleeping. You get off the bed to get a loaf of bread and some orange juice to refresh your throat. You look at the clock, it says 10:59 p.m. You went to the other room to check up your daughter, just to find out your daughter hanging, lifeless. The daughter? You also noticed your wife was missing and smelled that horrible smell outside. You struggled to talk. You slowly walked towards her and held her lifeless body. Her face is purple. She was choked. You tried to save her, but it was too late. You tried to scream, but the trauma was too intense. You can't move. You're starting to tear up. You cried silently, kneeling down. You fell into a deep swirl of emotions, mixing up and changing your mind. Your thought process was disrupted, and you can't comprehend anything due to the immense guilt and shame. You feel your heart sink like the Titanic. This changed your ambitions, your goal. You are feeling numb and helpless. The lifeless body of your daughter lies on your shaking hands. You started to feel anger, hatred to the person who did this, to your one and only daughter. You apply for a job of being a scientist, hoping to invent a machine that would eventually terminate the one that has brought destruction to the mind of William. You will pay for the pain that has brought to my beloved daughter. Back to the present, and time skip to 5 weeks later. I guess the brain has been developed. Now I need is to code the AI, and this thing will be alive soon. I will also code in that my machine's only purpose is to terminate that bastard. I guess I'll code it to be hateful, full of hatred. The machine has been invented, but only the brain in the head It functions, but it lacks the entire body. The beeping sound of the emergency alarm fills the entire laboratory. There was a malfunction in the experimental room. The room was filled with fire. The horrifying scream coming from the coworkers that got stuck in the experimental room. As William stood there in shock, completely frozen, as the scream from the coworkers, it filled everyone's mind. What happened to them? Asked by the former retired scientist. I don't know. Uh, I guess the experiment they did was performed wrong and made a mistake, which causes a chemical reaction. That's bullcrap. They are professionally trained, they are taught what not to do and what to do. It's impossible for them to make a stupid mistake. They spent hours studying on chemicals and elements. I know, but it's a mystery what happened to them. Maybe someone or something sabotaged them. That's nonsense. This facility is heavily guarded by security, CCTVs, and heavily armed guards. And this room is secured with thick, heavy metal doors. Besides that, what elements did they even use? The guard looks at the particles and the surroundings. Looks like they used ammonium nitrate fertilizer and fuel oil. See, those are simple elements and chemicals for them not to make a simple mistake. There must be something else. Both of them left the room with curiosity, while William stood there, analyzing what could have happened. He checked the scent and the visuals of the scene that had happened. The room was still burning and hot. As William put the fire out, he went inside the room and discovered a marking saying, Greek letters. Is this a message? William took a picture of the carvings on the wall and continued analyzing what was left in the burnt experimental room. You fell into a deep thought as you think of your life choices. Everything is sensationally empty. The sweet feeling and the aroma of being useless. You can feel your heartbeat. You can feel your brain pumping in your head. You feeling like your life is a living hell of a cycle. Whatever you do, what actions you commit, there's always a bad things happen. Feeling like a rock, just waiting for its demise at every corner, as if the rock has corners. Failing since the date of your birth. It's so embarrassing to think of it. The only failure in the bloodline, the only one whose will be at the lowest depths of the ocean, the one who keeps failing spiritually, mentally, and physically, feeling that you can't get the grasp of success in your life, always feeling you're out of reach, not able to hold the rope that will lead you to the fullest with your dreams, can't win, can't get a single thing right, feeling like you don't belong at the surface of the earth, you can't get the taste of triumph, feeling like a total waste. Your parents worked hard to raise you just to raise a total failure. A failure to the world, to the bloodline. You have no purpose. You are just a jester. Your only job is to regale people. If you endeavor to do other than that, you will fail instantly. The satisfaction you crave that you can't save, you act like you're unfazed, but in reality you're hurt. Like a withered rose, withering and burning away like a piece of paper. Your heart is an empty bottle with holes. Once you fill it up, it will drain yet again. You woke up in a dream state. You're holding a picture of your dead daughter that was brutally killed. Her neck was snapped and she was choked. She has a cut in her throat and her intestines were spazzing out of her stomach because she was sliced. There was a huge puddle of blood on the carpet. You were gonna tell the police to capture the criminal who killed your daughter, but the police refused to do so because you lacked the evidence who killed your daughter. And that's when you remembered there was an empty bottle of tequila in your daughter's bedroom. Right after the incident where she died and your wife disappeared once you went back to your bedroom. You left the police station once the police declined, and that's when hatred starts to fill up and burn inside your heart. is growing like a budding rose. You went to your own lab and continued building and improving your machine to find that criminal that took your daughter's life. So you work for countless of hours. Your eyes, your eyes are tired and are ready to shut. And then suddenly, thud, you fell on the ground. You fainted due to the immense work that you did. You woke up after 4 hours of being unconscious. Then there it is. Your creation is now alive, functional, and has mobility. You stood up and faced against the machine as you gave its first order that the machine will be received. As its computer brain computing, it makes mechanical engine sounds inside as it finally finishes its programming. Find the person who killed my daughter. You demanded the machine. Error. Couldn't find the person who you looking for. Any other orders you have for me, sir? The machine replied and it denied. You were angry and held the machine by its mechanical throat. What do you mean you can find this bastard? I coded the person inside the stupid computer brain of yours, you exclaimed in frustration. You think of something that might give the robot an idea of who you are trying to find, and then you had an idea. You went to your basement and grabbed your daughter's severed head and then placed it inside the robot's chest for it to analyze. It gathered informations such as DNA, hair follicles, and then blood, and showed the daughter's DNA, blood type, and etc. And then suddenly showed an information that shook you down to your core. It showed a DNA that wasn't your daughter's, and then blood type and personal information. This person who you analyze, find him. Find him now. Go search everywhere. Go all around the globe, and I want him to be cut into pieces and sever his head. You shouted at the robot, and it reads your emotional status. And then receive your orders, but it didn't go to what you expected or planned. Instead, the robot attacks you, choking you by the throat, holding you in the air. As the grip tightens, you were struggling to breathe. The robot's eyes turned bright red as it muttered two words. Threat detected. Then, the robot's face, it showed. Anomaly must be terminated. It shook you down to your spine. You were confused and wondering why it attacked you once you gave the order. And then you finally realized that you were the one that killed your daughter. You were drunk at that time and mistaken that someone killed your daughter, but in reality, you were the one who killed your daughter. What about your wife? Well, you deflowered your wife and killed her at the same night. You threw her in the dump. That explains that horrible smell. You were regretting everything that you've done, and then you went to an unconscious state. You rubbed your eyes, opened them slowly, and noticed you're at the police station again. Looks like you're back at the real world. You were turning yourself in to the police. You were transported to the court, and the judge sentenced you to 40 years in prison, but you refused and asked for a death sentence so you can be with your family again. And the judge looks at you in disbelief and says, "You want to be with your family? Well, that will be unlikely because you're going to hell and your family is above the clouds. You committed a second-degree murder, and by that you will be punished. We will not give you a death sentence since that's what you wanted. We will punish you and give you 40 years of life in prison." Chapter 3. The Truth. Hello, William. This is your consciousness speaking, or should I say, your true self, or the awakened one. I'm the part of yourself that is all-knowing, the one who knows what happened, I'm your true self, guide into the true path. I'm trying to open your eyes and see the truth. You make up stories and hide the guilt and the agony that you held for ages. The truth is, we're dead. You, William, or us. We died. William, you and me. What you believe is false. Just your brain trying to save you from trauma. Who really killed your daughter? It was you, William. You were the one who killed our beloved daughter. Now don't get me started on our wife. You also killed her because you were drunk and argued with your wife. In the job you worked, being as a scientist, oh please, that was just your goal. You didn't actually become one. You just dreamed of it. Isn't it hilarious? Arguing with yourself? And the robot you ordered to kill the bastard that you killed your daughter, that was me, William. I was the robot. Because at that very moment when you ordered the robot to terminate the bastard that killed your or our daughter, I targeted you. After all, you killed her. In the part where you fought or lost to the robot, you were fighting to yourself, your alter ego. You were fighting me, the all-knowing. The truth? The truth is, the truth is that we're in hell, burning and suffering. You should have continued your Christian living and kept repenting. You already knew the truth and you received the knowledge of truth, yet you kept deliberately sinning. You should have kept reading your Bible and be baptized, but it was too late to change. Now you're here to suffer for eternity. You really are a failure.